You're listening to the podcast where we talk about life, sports, family, and everything in between. Welcome to Just Talking Out Loud with your hosts, Ron and Terry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm Ron.
And I'm Terry.
And this is going to be, I think, a fun week if it all works out. This podcast you're listening to as we broadcast from our sunroom is about Mother's Day. Mother's Day is May 8th, and we're going to start with Terri, talk about being a mom and how we got to this point and all that stuff. We'll discuss that in a minute. And hopefully, my plan is that we're going to release some episodes all week long. We'll talk to my mom. We'll talk to your mom. I'm hoping to talk to Lauren, a new mom. Get her impressed. I'm interested to talk to her, and the reason she had mentioned that at one point she didn't want to have kids, and I kind of want to see that how she feels now that she is a mom and all that stuff. So, hoping to be able to, and maybe I just thought about this, Terry. I don't know if this will work or not, but maybe talk to Sherry about being a mom again. Having two older children and then kind of starting over, have teenagers. The reason we're doing moms is, we should celebrate moms every day. They did a survey, and they say that they believe Mother's Day should be every day. Then they did a couple studies, and they said 86% of respondents said these women are the most hardworking people they know. 69% agree that moms don't get enough credit for all they do. They also said that their mom is their best friend. And 63% said their mom is a superhero who can take on any challenge and resolve it with grace. And knowing your mom, my mom, and some of the things that they've gone through is, it's quite impressive when you say.
Yeah. And I would say those are two of my best friends.
Yeah.
My mom and your mom.
I couldn't agree more. They, and I think a lot of it is their support, right? I mean, it's not like whenever we have, when we got married, they were supportive of us. They were there for us in the good times. They're there for the tough times. And they weren't, it wasn't like they were taking sides. They tried to listen and be a part of it. And I just appreciate both of them for that. And I wanted to ask you, Terry, because I saw this question and I wanted to ask you about it because I don't remember us talking about it. Maybe we had, but the question was, if you're in a relationship, should you bring up the point of having kids right away? In other words, whether you want to have kids or not have kids, is that something in a relationship you should get off the table right away? And I didn't know if we really talked about that.
You wanted to have a baby as soon as we were married.
Yeah, but I don't.
So I think we just assumed that. I don't know if we talked about it or not, but I knew I wanted kids. If you'd have said you didn't want kids, I would have thought twice. I mean, that's something you really should be together on. But our Nathan says it's her body. If she doesn't want them, that's her choice.
And it is.
But if he felt that strongly that he wanted them, that would be a problem.
Well, we've seen on that show that we were watching that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be a very, especially if someone wants a real big family and someone doesn't want them at all.
It is a decision.
I can't imagine life without my kids.
Right, I agree.
I can't imagine life without my kids. I can't imagine being my mother's age now that Dad's gone and having no one.
Well, I mean, again, that's it's a decision that people make, and it's up to them. Some people can't have kids. Some people don't want to have kids, and that's fine. That's really up to them. But I wouldn't change anything. I love having that, being able to see them when we can, and they live busy lives. We live busy lives. But the question was, I mean, you said, I don't know if we really discussed it. I think we just assumed that we both
wanted kids.
I mean, that's what I mean.
Well,
we weren't planning on having that soon.
The the kicker was, I mean, we went to my niece's aunt's house and watched 12 kids babysat 12 kids one night when they all went out to dinner. Everyone was in town. And you went with me, and we watched those kids. And so I just thought, you wanted kids. You must, if you would sit through 12 kids that you barely knew, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew 2 of them.
Yeah.
My nieces. But,
Right.
But the rest of them were all their cousins from their other side of the family. And we watched them all. And there were 2 or 3 infants at that point.
Yeah, I
there
believe
were
so.
2 or 3 in diapers that we had that night. So, I mean.
So here we are, we're in our early 20s. And I don't think we wanted to have kids, but I don't think we knew we were going to have them that soon.
I think
in our
you said
marriage.
something right away when we got married. When are we going to have a baby? And I'm like, can I get used to you first?
Right. Yeah, one thing at a time, huh?
And I was thinking at a year we'd talk about when to have them, and at a year I was already pregnant. Like
Yeah,
April
85.
April
we got
4th,
married.
and around April 4th, we were trying to decide whether I was pregnant already.
Yeah, but
And so it was for our first anniversary, we knew I was pregnant, didn't we?
well, but you got pregnant not because you were taking an antibiotic and it was canceling. Something was canceling because you were still on the pill.
I wasn't on any antibiotic. I was on something for my allergies.
Well, whatever
and
it
they
was.
said that shouldn't have happened, but it did.
It did because we ended up getting pregnant, and RJ was born in 1987. So, 87 and 89, we have 2 kids, RJ and Nathan. And then in 1995, which is a pretty big break in between, but in that time span, you did have surgery, 2 back surgeries, right? Or no, just one.
One, but
Second one was
I
after.
had a very hard time with I was very sick after the first back surgery. I had a lot of reactions to the anesthesia, and I had a lot of other problems.
When so being a mom, okay, let's go to you as a child. You grew up with 4 siblings. Mm-hmm. You were the youngest of the 4.
Yep.
What do you remember about your mom and how she was able to raise you? Was there something that you thought, boy, that's something I'd like to emulate, be like her in these situations? Was there something that
my mother was very strong. She stood up to my dad, who was a very big man. And when I was very small, he was an alcoholic, and she would stand up to him and tell him what he was and wasn't going to do, and when he wasn't going out. And so she was very strong personality. And that, I think that went a long way with us kids. That, you weren't going to push a woman around just because she was a woman.
yeah.
I think then her other strength was I was really young, but the boys weren't. She rededicated herself to Christ and took us back to church when I was in kindergarten, first grade. So she started anew, she was trying to turn our lives around. And that was the beginning of her strength in Christ really showed through and got us through a lot of hard times. Moves. We moved here to Pennsylvania, and it just showed a lot. The other thing she really brought was traditions, like Christmas cookies and some traditions from our family that I saw that I wanted to carry through, like the sugar cookies. She did sugar cookies.
I didn't know that.
And she told me and Janet, just went to that cookie decorating class.
Yeah.
And Janet asked her if she wanted to go with us, and she said, "No, I always just did that for you kids."
Oh.
So I didn't realize she didn't really care
She
to
didn't
do
care for
that.
that.
But she did that every year with us just because she thought us kids liked it. And I think she even did it with the boys. And So I didn't realize it.
It wasn't her thing.
That's not her thing, but she did it every year. I mean, she used to make hardtack candy with us and fudge with us and the cookies every year.
I remember the fudge. It was great.
Yes. I mean, she did it every year, and I think she liked the fudge to eat, to nibble on. But I don't know how much she enjoyed making it herself. And same thing with the hardtack. But so I think she did all of those things just because she thought we liked to do them. And that shows what a mom will give the extra.
Yeah.
Even if she doesn't enjoy something, she'll do it just because it's family time.
Right.
So, and that's me. I mean, if my boys asked me we went to wrestling matches. Wrestling matches were not my thing, but hey, it was a family. We did it as a family, and we went. And
so those are some things you remember too. Then doing, is there certain things besides the cookie? Was there things that she did with you? Besides cooking, like
taking us to visit grandparents.
Okay.
I had a grandma right in town, which on bowling mornings, Saturday mornings was bowling morning, and I was too young to bowl yet. She left me in bed, and when I got up, I called Grandma, and she came and got me. And then we would spend, most of the afternoon at her house. But then at least every other Sunday, I'd say, but at least one Sunday a month, we would go to my great-grandmother who lived almost about an hour away, and we would go to my great-grandmother's all the time to see her. I mean, me and my siblings remember playing in her yard and boats and hammocks, and I mean, if you ask us about things in Sanford Lake and stuff like that, because she took us to our great-grandmothers. I mean, also. So the grandparents that were there, we saw a lot. And she made that important. And maybe that's why I made it such a position in our kids' life to go see every grandparent that was in Washington. Until our kids were in sports, they saw every grandparent every week, unless someone was sick or something. We went either Friday or Saturday to your Nana Mickey's, and we went Tuesday or Thursday to Nana Mary's, and we went Sundays usually to church, and then to my mom's, and then to your mom's. And that was something that I kind of passed down from my mom, because I always remembered good times at my grandparents.
And those are things that the kids remember, because my grandparents, their great-grandparents, they went to see them too, not just their grandparent, but they had great-grandparents. RJ did, for sure.
RJ
and Nathan remembers too. But they would, my dad's mom and dad would, when you'd say they're coming, well, boy, if we would say we were coming, and they would, they'd have the pepperoni, not the cheap pepperoni. They would cut the pepperoni. They would have ho-hos, and they would deck out this table, and the kids would tell you that even today they remember that
snacks
there. I mean, this thing, it was just a little coffee table, but then even the kitchen table had stuff on it too. And it's just one of those things that the kids remember, because you make memories with your kids.
Yeah, and I remember telling them, you don't have to get all this. We're just coming to see you. You don't have to have all the snacks. But they wanted them to want to come to their house.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have
snacks.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just, the way they did it. And usually Nana Mary always made cookies, and then she always froze some. So I remember, even as the older kids got bigger, and we couldn't fit them in all the time on Tuesdays or Thursday nights because of soccer practice or whatever. By then, Nana Mary was living at the apartments by soccer practice. So me and Zachary would walk over and see her. Wow. And he was really little, and she always had a cookie.
Oh, yeah.
She always go and get a cookie out of the freezer for
always.
him. And I remember her saying to me, he's not like the other great-grandchildren. They all seem afraid of me and my cane, but he just would crawl right up with her. Well, he didn't realize what an old person was, because he went Nana Mickey's house. There was so
Oh,
many.
a lot of people.
There was all the great aunts and great uncles. You never
Yeah.
knew when you were there, and we were usually there on a Friday or a Saturday. So there was always someone who stopped by. You know, you didn't need an invite to Nana Mickey's house. They just stopped by to see her. And so then they would get more hugs and more, you know.
Yeah, they weren't very, Fenn is starting to come out of that a little bit, not much because of COVID and everything, but our kids were never one to be scared because they were always around people. Every weekend,
we took them to all the grandmothers and the great grandmothers, and like I said, when you went to Nana Mickey's, you never knew. There could be 2 people, there could be 12 people there.
Yeah, it's interesting that was something your mom made a point of doing, and then you kind of, even though you hear some people say, well, I don't want to be exactly like my parents. I can honestly say that I would want to be like my parents were. They were strict, but they weren't. It wasn't like, they just wanted us. My dad would always say, treat people the way you want to be treated, and that was kind of the thing that we were, do the right thing. Be a leader. Always would say, be a leader. Don't be a follower. Be a leader. Yeah. But there are things that I want to take with me that I learned from them. My mom having that, and I hope to talk to her about this, but having that, it's always been, she'd always see the good in somebody.
Oh, she does. Yeah.
Terri could rob a bank and she'd say, well, she's probably just having a bad day.
Yeah.
That would be my mom.
Or she really must have needed the money.
Yeah, she must have needed the money. I wish she'd have just asked me. I'd give her money.
Yeah.
That would be my mom.
Yeah.
Your mom's the same. Your mom's the same way though. Your mom, she has her opinion, but it's always done in a very Christian-like. It's not where you put you down. It doesn't, it's not degrading. It's, look at it this way, or, do what you, and I love that about her too. And I think you've done that even with our kids, having 3 kids, having that break in between, here's RJ born 87, Nathan's born 89. And so we're young. I'm working 2 jobs. You were working a job, and then you quit for a little bit to watch both of them for a little bit. And I guess my question would be to you as a mom, here you are with 2 kids. Was there something that you thought motherhood would be like? Was it different than what you thought it would be like? Was there anything different?
I actually always thought I wanted to be a mom. I didn't know about like nursing and being so close to them. And RJ made me feel very good about that. Then he gave it up very young too. He was only 5 months old and he quit. Yeah. He was too busy. And all 3 of ours walked, before they were a year old, 2 of them in their 7th, 8th month. So it didn't seem like they were infants very long.
Right.
They just seemed like they were toddlers real quick. And
RJ was running the VCR around 2.
Yes, I mean he was running. He was playing
video
Mario
games.
And and so that went so fast. But yeah, I think I enjoyed it as much or more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was expectations that maybe you.
My expectations, the only time I was a little was Nathan was stronger willed than me. And I remember telling my mom, I didn't know God made him this strong willed because, he shook his crib into 5 pieces on the floor.
Yes, he did.
I mean, yeah, I just, there's certain things and you don't know,
Yeah.
I mean, you might get a kid and then our 3rd one was colic. So that wasn't something I bargained for. But you know what? We made it through it, and he's a great kid. So
we've been blessed. We have been extremely blessed. And that was the other thing too. We are coming with RJ and Nathan, both very different. RJ's very easygoing. Nathan was too, but he was had a little more of a moody side. And so you go this long break, and then 1995, Zachary's born, and he's colic. I remember it like it was yesterday, Zachary being born, and just screamed
Oh, he was
as soon as he came out, and nurses walking by and just kind of looking. And I don't know if these were future mothers thinking, there ain't no way I'm getting involved in that. I mean, we could do nothing to stop him from, it was brutal.
It wasn't like a little cry.
No.
Like,
Finn's got that little, like.
It was a cry that said, I'm dying. You have to help me now. It was a scream that you could not ignore.
It was brutal.
He was born in December, and the neighbors across the street called to see what was wrong with the new baby. That is how loud.
Yeah, everything's closed up, and they can hear across the street.
Yes. I don't remember your other babies. I don't remember hearing your other babies. I'm like, no.
Yeah, he's...
that was,
That was tough.
And for 8 months, it was like clockwork. Between 9 and 10 o'clock, it started at night, and it went till 2 to 4 in the morning. And it was,
we would take turns. We tag team, and
we tried everything.
Yeah.
Doctors gave us stuff. I mean, I remember the older people at the Nazarene church gave me hints, and I tried any kind of old-fashioned remedy anyone gave me.
Yeah.
We tried everything. And what was funny was some of those things would help once, and then the next time we do them, they wouldn't help.
Yeah.
They might settle them down like in an hour, and we're like, oh, that mint must have worked, or that whatever, what must have worked. And then so we tried the next night. Boy, it wouldn't work the next time. And we'd be up all night again. So, yeah, that first, 8 months.
It was
and by
trying.
then he was walking, too. So you figure he was done with colic and started walking around the same time. So we went from no sleep to busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 2 brothers that were kind of pushing him to do different things, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was it was rough. I wanted to ask you, too, about names. That was a question I wanted to bring up. Like when we came up with names, especially with RJ, I don't think I had it in my mind I wanted him to be named after me. I just liked RJ, but ended up being Ronald Joseph.
I think I had Nathan picked for the first one. For the boy.
Well, we had girls' names and boys' names.
And then when we decided on RJ, then we never could really nail down a girl's name every time.
No,
I can tell you what each one would have been if they were a girl.
Right.
Most likely. But then I always remember my Mia Michelle, and your Nana Mickey would say, no, that's Italian.
Yeah.
And she would be like, so I may have named that,
but it wasn't
depending on when they were born, if they looked like a Mia.
But you didn't. It wasn't like we scientifically. We just would throw out names. It wasn't like we had any meaning behind it, did we? Or not really, was it?
No, I think RJ was more for you. But then when I found out the meanings of them, and then like when I found out the meaning of Nathan given by God, then I liked them even more. And then by the time Zachary came around, I was more into meanings of names. And the names, we let the boys help pick Zachary's name. And I said, as long as it's something I feel I can live with, you guys can name him. And
they felt
Nathan
you had a part
picked
in it too.
Zach. It had to be spelled Z-A-C-K.
C-K, yeah.
So, and I put Zachary. And then he would have been Alyssa, spelled with a Y, if he was a girl, because the meaning of it was different in the baby book. I think spelled differently. It was sober, and it was enchanted or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And RJ liked that, Alyssa. So
it wasn't meant to be. You were going to be surrounded by
boys. Even the
boys.
dog was a boy.
Even the dog, Ranger, at that point. Yeah. Pekingese. Even and that's a story in itself, because Terry's grown up around dogs. You've always had dogs. Your mom and dad had dogs, but learning now, your mom wasn't really crazy about dogs.
No, my mom never had a dog when she was growing up.
Right.
And I think my dad always wanted a dog. My dad grew up so poor that they would never let him have a dog, but then maybe they had some strays they let in. because he didn't sleep in the house. He slept in a shed in the backyard, so up in the mountains. So that was the kids' bedroom, was more or less a room built out back. But so I think he always wanted one, and so I think he liked the dogs.
But he was strict with the dog. Remember, Mitzi had to be in a certain room.
Mitzi was
not around
allowed.
the table.
Mitzi was not allowed to come into the living room at all. Was not allowed in the back bedrooms, the kitchen, on the linoleum floor, and right in the entry when you walked in the house was the only place she was allowed. And she was afraid of storms, and she would try to come in with us, and he would get back out there. But then, so one of us kids would usually go around the corner and sit with her because she was so scared of like the thunder and lightning. So
it was interesting that later on, as he became strict, and then as kids are gone, then all of a sudden, you can come in and sit on my lap, get on the couch, you do this.
Oh,
do
yes.
that.
His
They're
last
everywhere.
dog, Heather, could do no
wrong.
Although the one right before that was a little
Cujo.
Yeah.
That's what I called it. A little nippy thing with
Rosie. She'd
it was
bite
Rosie.
she'd bite your face off.
She was brutal.
Yeah.
She was brutal.
She only liked him.
Did your mom I keep going back and forth, and I probably shouldn't do that, but I'm just going to go jump back and forth, and then I'll jump to how it relates to how we raised, but it really moms. So your mom didn't, when you lived in Michigan, she was supportive as far as if you wanted to get in gymnastics, all that kind of stuff. Wasn't.
She signed us up. In Michigan, it was quite different, though. We had a community center, and she paid a fee to the community center, and you could do as many things there. There wasn't a lot of other fees. It was like a family. It was just
one fee, and you got to do...
I'm pretty sure. Now, there might have been like a very small fee for things that you did then, like maybe $5 to play softball. And like we took ballet, we took gymnastics, we played softball, was fast pitch up there. But we did almost everything through the community center. So it wasn't as expensive. Like I see people that are in dance here that, they spend tons of money on that kind of stuff. And you could take ballet or whatever,
right,
tap or whatever, and and then see if you liked it.
Yeah.
But
so, you kind of let the kids, the kids were in soccer. They tried football. Was there anything that you thought, that's a sport I wish he hadn't have played, or?
No, I always asked them if they wanted to try baseball, but I could see them being bored, put in center field and sit down and some coach cussing at them to get off your glove, or doing airplanes, out in the field.
That's what Zachary did with soccer, though.
Yes, well, because he was a little bit
young. Little. Yeah,
he was very young. But but I let our kids more or less choose. And I think one of the other reasons they never chose to play baseball was because it was an everyday commitment. Once you hit like third grade, you had practice or a game almost every day for the whole season.
Right.
And they liked their soccer. You had 2 practices in a game every week, and then the season was over. I think they liked that was just enough activity for them.
The only thing that I would say that I know this is very popular, and I don't know why, is wrestling. Now, Nathan did try wrestling, but it was for a very short time.
You want to say why?
Well, it was because he got ringworm.
He didn't get it.
Oh.
But
I thought he had it.
There was an outbreak in the team.
Okay.
And then he had gotten it the year before. Was it the year before or the year? He had gotten it. At one point, he did have it, but it was from a friend of his that wrestled. And then I think it was the year before that he had it. And then when it broke out in the wrestling team, he would not shower. And they were telling him he had to shower before he left. And he's like, I'm not showering with any of them ringworm people.
Yeah, he was
like paranoid. And he ended up, and I had told him he could wrestle as long as he didn't have to gain or lose a lot of weight. I didn't want him to have to, some of them kids are running laps and laps to take weight off, to make weight to wrestle that night. And I'm like,
taking water pills.
I didn't think that would be worth it at that age. And he was middle school when he tried it, I think. But
we never discouraged. I mean, you wanted them to try whatever they wanted to try, and soccer was Nathan's thing.
The only thing I ever told them no was RJ in high school wanted to try to box because he went someplace and he was really good at it. And I said, I've got a car in your mouth and teeth. Why didn't you tell me you wanted to box beforehand? I'll let them knock your teeth out, and then we wouldn't have to put braces in your mouth.
But they wear the mouthpieces. Protects him a little bit.
It was like, I already had a lot of money in his mouth, oral surgery and expanders and braces. He didn't get his braces off till his senior pictures. I mean, like the week of his senior pictures, we had to put them as late as possible. And he said, I wish I didn't mention this before. I would like to box. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? And he just never mentioned it again after I said that. I was like, I got a car in your mouth.
When we come back, I'm going to ask about holidays, traditions with your mom and your family, and how we kind of got that into our family. We'll talk about that, and also gifts. What's some of the favorite things that you've gotten from our kids? So when we come back, we'll talk some more. So don't go anywhere. So you want to start a podcast, maybe you're listening to the show today and you're thinking to yourself, boy, that would be fun, and I have a lot of things I want to talk about. Maybe today is the day. Maybe you're looking for a new marketing channel, or you have a message that you'd like to share with the world, or you just think it would be fun to have a talk show. And it is a lot of fun, just talking to your friends. Maybe you have ideas about sports, life, or whatever your passion is. Today's the day. Podcasting is easy, it's inexpensive, and it's a fun way to expand your reach online. And where should you go? Buzzsprout. It's hands down the easiest, and it's the best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. And your show, believe it or not, can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories in minutes, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and you wouldn't believe how many more there are. And they make it simple to join all of them. Podcasting is not hard when you have the right partners, and Buzzsprout is the team to join. They are passionate about your success. You can join over 1,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout. We're one of them. We've been on Buzzsprout from the beginning, and I'm so glad I joined up. I had a little bit of an issue, emailed a customer service rep, and they got back to me within 5 minutes, and they had me calm down. It wasn't that hard, and what I was doing was my fault. So here's all you got to do. Click on the link in the show notes. It tells Buzzsprout we sent you. You can support our show, and if you get a paid plan, you get a $20 gift certificate from Amazon. Now, here's some other things that Buzzsprout provides. Like, you get a great-looking podcast website. Now, a lot of people think, I got to get a website, got to pay for that. No, you don't. They provide it for you. Also, they have audio players. Maybe you have a website, and all you want to do is promote your show on your own website. You can do that with their audio players, and you can also drop it into other websites and on Facebook or Twitter, and they help you do it all. Believe me, Buzzsprout is the way to go. They've helped me immensely, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. So maybe today is a day for you to start your podcast. And if you do, check out the link below in the show notes and get a $20 Amazon gift card. Welcome back. We're talking about moms. This is going to be, I'm hoping all week we'll be talking to different moms, just celebrating moms this week, because it is Mother's Day on May 8th. And we are releasing this podcast on Sunday. We're going to do it a day early. And then we'll bring out as many as we can during the week, which is more work for me, but it's exciting. I think it's going to be fun to talk and see how, motherhood was different in different generations too. I think that'll be interesting to see. The question that I had asked right before break was, your mom, your family, traditions, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Did you guys have a particular place you went? Did she make a point of that?
when most of us lived in Michigan, we went to my grandmother's for Thanksgiving, and Christmas Eve was my grandmother's birthday. So Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day, we usually had at home. But a lot of times we were at Grandma's Christmas Eve right into Christmas Day. I remember all the blankets being across her living room floor, 9 to 12 grandchildren just being sacked out on the living room floor because the extra beds were, the parents. She also had a feather bed downstairs, an old antique feather bed in her basement that we used to jump on and stuff. So she had like 2 or 3 extra, places.
But your mom made it a point. I mean, that was holiday. That was holidays.
Oh,
It
yes.
was family oriented.
Thanksgiving we had mine and my cousin Normie and my cousin Tommy. Tommy's 1 week older than me, and Normie's 1 year and 1 week younger than me. And we would have our birthdays, and my grandmother would make in a little pot pie tin. She would make a cup, like a cake that size, for each one of us for Thanksgiving, and they would all sing happy birthday to us. So we kind of rolled our birthdays into the Thanksgiving, and we have pictures of us even in high chairs with our nice big cupcake. And so that's always a good memory from.
Well, I think that's even how we kind of continued that tradition too, because you were very family oriented.
Yes.
And our Italian family, definitely always getting together in my grandfather's basement, and we would have for Easter and Thanksgiving have big giant spaghetti, because we had a little tiny turkey, but the spaghetti was the main meal, and in the Christmases and seeing cousins, because my mom was a twin and then had an older sister, and they all had kids, and I had 8 other cousins, however it was, it was 9 of us all together. And I think that was a big thing too. Both of our moms really family oriented. That was something they brought from their moms,
And that's probably why we took our kids to see everyone.
Yeah.
I even remember taking our RJ and Nathan to your Aunt Carol's and just different ones when we could fit them in when they were younger. And that's probably why, because I remember like spending the night with my Aunt Ruth almost every year for the Jerry Lewis telethon. I really missed those kind of things when we moved here from Michigan. But there were a couple, I think there was one telethon like the year after we moved here that we went back to Michigan for, and I, stayed with my Aunt Ruth. And then within 2 years of us moving here, my grandparents retired and moved to Florida. And my Aunt Ruth and Uncle Norm ended up moving down there, and so did my Uncle Butch and Aunt Shyla ended up moving there. So that was 7 of my cousins moved there with them. So that kind of broke it all up.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say too. When the patriarch, we'll use that word because I think it's a good one. When they go on to be with the Lord and they pass away, it's unfortunate, but it has happened. And there are times that I don't see my cousins like I used to. I mean, we were like brothers and sisters, really.
Yeah, because
really
you saw them all the time.
We saw them because, they were so close. And then grandparents start passing away and you start separating into your own like groups. And I don't mean that to sound like a bad thing. I mean, that's happens.
Our family gatherings are a lot smaller now. I mean, we still go to your mom's all the time. And we either go to Janet's or, my mom's or whatever, but it's different.
Yeah, it is. It's, but it's again, it's one of those things we still stay family oriented, still try and get together as much as we can, but it is different. Yeah, it is. It's a shame when you always say, oh, we only get to see you during, like funerals or whatever. And that is true.
Yeah.
For the most part. But, and so we've kind of taken that as a mom, you've done that too. You've tried to incorporate family things. Was there anything that you can remember getting your mom as a gift for Mother's Day that, did she really seem like she liked more than, was there anything special that you remember getting her? Do you ever,
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't wait to ask your mom that if she remembers getting gifts.
I've bought her like flowers or something every year since she's been up here.
As you're little, was there anything that you might have made or that she hung on the? Your mom doesn't seem like a person that would hang things on the refrigerator. Maybe she would.
Yeah, and she kept I remember she kept like our Christmas decorations like you made in Sunday school or you made in Girl Scouts or whatever. She had all those homemade decorations because she gave them to me when she packed up and moved to Florida. She gave a whole box of them because Zachary had a heyday with them.
Mother's Day though, you don't remember?
But I don't really remember anything special. I just remember on Mother's Day, we always went to see my grandmother and my great-grandma. We usually picked up Grandma Thelma and went to Grandma Mary's.
Oh, okay.
Which would have been her mother-in-law.
You did that on like Mother's Day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of, but it was just you, your mom, your sister, or was it every?
Yes, if the boys were around, boys, yeah. Like it was just like a family day.
Okay.
But, Grandma Thelma's mother had passed away by then. I think she had passed before I was born.
Is there something that our kids may have given you that still today kind of?
Well, you mean like when they were little?
Yeah, something little. I
always liked their homemade little gifts. A lot of times like the ones with their picture that, the magnets that fit on the refrigerator or whatever.
Yeah.
RJ, since he's been adult, picks out great cards that make me cry. He says I remember one read something about, I remember growing up and you gave me the freedom of this and that. And it just always chokes me up, the cards he picks. And then he got me a devotional a couple years ago. I remember that. But I really enjoy the flowers. And I know those types of things die, but I plant them in the yard or hang them in a basket on the porch, and that's a seasonal thing that I really enjoy from my kids.
Well, it's funny that you said homemade gifts because, according to this study, finding the right gift, they say, can be tricky. 64%, though, are confident they know what their moms would enjoy as presents. Still, 3/4 so they make sure they're on the right track by asking them what they want. And the number one Mother's Day gift the moms loved the most was homemade gifts. That was number one.
I do have a little pin from Zachary. I think he made it in the Nazarene church with one of the Sunday school. I still have it. It's like a little heart with a little yellow flower in it. And it's a pin. And I know I still have that. So, and that was a little homemade thing that a Sunday school teacher or something helped, or caravan or something. He made that in, and
So here's the top 10. See if any of these resonate. Number 10 was getaways and vacations, and we do that.
Yeah,
we actually do that, and that's something you and I discussed that we talked about when. I love the beach. I'm not, and I'll hopefully talk to my mom about her traveling, but I was not much of a traveler either. And we go to the beach and we found a place down in Nags Head, and that's become, and I always said that because when we bought the place, we bought a timeshare, that if you have that, then you'll go, because otherwise I probably would not go if I didn't have that.
Yeah, I think we had the place that, what's it called? With Peels.
Oh, yeah. High Tide.
Yeah, cottages.
High Tide Cottages.
And I think we would still be going there.
Yeah.
But as that couple was getting older and older, we didn't know if it would still be there. We don't know if someone will sell it off.
It was cramped, though.
Yes.
Right now it would be cramped with our big family being so
we
big.
would need another spot.
Yes.
Yeah, because
for sure.
We could go with just our adult kids, and we would all fit, but we couldn't fit any
Yes.
more.
And that is for me. I enjoy that. I love that time, and it's going to be fun this year
so
too.
that's why we bought the timeshare was because
to get away.
Yes, and then you make yourself get away. You were never you never really been to the beach or anything before that.
I hadn't been out of Pennsylvania till I met you. You know, we went to Ohio, went to SeaWorld, and we didn't go to the Hall of Fame. That was with us. We did that.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we did with the kids in the zoo. You know, Busch Gardens. I wasn't much of a rider, but then we went to Florida, and then we have I've traveled more with you have pushed me to do those things.
It was nothing for us to
as a family, you guys
as a family to decide over Christmas break to jump in the car and go to Florida, and we drove it. I mean, my dad would drive it straight through, load us in the car, and go see my mom's one sister. Bonnie has always lived in Florida, and so we could go down there and see family anytime, and that's where they met and got married. So
that was number 10. What moms love getting for Mother's Day was getaways, vacations. Number 9, clothing and shoes. Which I
that's okay if I need it. I guess if I don't know.
It's tough to buy my mom if we're looking at it that way. Let's look at it that way.
How many Negs Head T-shirts have we bought?
Yeah, and that's
end up back in my drawer.
Yeah.
I quit buying them because 2 years later she says, "Hey, I never wear this. Did you want it?" And then I end up wearing it.
Well, I think you just got a grandma shirt that we gave to her that she gave back to us. So clothing for me, for us, clothing, that just doesn't, I don't think that's a good. Shoes, I'm not going to buy her shoes. Number 8, household gifts. We have done, I was going to say household gifts.
Well, there's been times we're out of a toaster or something, that household gifts
okay, I didn't think of it that way.
You know what I mean?
I was thinking more like a crafty thing, but maybe that's on. Oh, crafts is up here, so that's on there too.
Yeah, I would think household gift would be, I don't know.
That's number 8. I don't know if someone brought, I wouldn't buy you a sweeper. You wouldn't want your sons to buy you a sweeper.
Oh.
No, you
but
wouldn't.
Like a mixer or a food processor.
That's it seems like more Christmas. Mother's Day, Christmas. I think flowers.
Flowers, yes. I think Mother's Day is more flowers, and come sit and have a meal with me. Come spend some time with me. Right.
Like electronics is number 7. Again, this is what moms like, but I'm not sure, all moms are different. Jewelry is number 6. And now I think RJ got you.
Bought me, and that's another gift. It was a bracelet, but I've been wearing it as an ankle bracelet.
Right.
And it looks like a vine, and it has a little symbol with R and T on it, and then it has R, N, and a Z for our family tree on it. And it's very nice.
Flowers is number 5, we just said. And number 4, gift cards and certificates. Which a gift card?
Yeah, they've given me gift cards.
We've done that for my mom. We've done that with your mom. Mostly flowers, though. My mom likes the hanging baskets or, chocolate, fruit arrangements, edible gifts is number 3. Personalized gifts is number 2.
Yeah, the bracelet to me is.
And then you said the homemade gifts, which I think there's something about a homemade gift that's, it's pretty special, I think, from your kids,
especially if they're young and they think of something or if it has a cute little poem or, I know we have one, I think, with Zachary's handprint that they did in Mops, and it says, "This is to remember me when I was small," or, and it has a little, and it is really something I've kept and I will keep,
We've been blessed. I was going to ask, they were talking about teenage years being the toughest, and they are tough. Kids are going through a lot. They're testing you. They're trying to figure out themselves. When they're between 1 and 10, it's pretty basic. For the most part, hopefully.
Yeah.
We've been blessed. The kids weren't ill. They weren't sickly, and
no.
There are moms that are out there, man, they're just busting their hump because, we're looking after after their children. And I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it this week is talk about moms and how they sacrifice. Sometimes they sacrifice their career.
And sometimes they have a career and they trying to raise the kids on their own.
By themselves. Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely. So if you
keep kids straight and off the street while you're not there to keep them off the street. Yeah.
If you're blessed enough to have your mom, still around, hopefully you get a chance to go see her, say, call her on the phone if you're not in the same area, same state, but, or if hopefully that if your mom's not around, you get to remember some of the great times that I think that's part of the thing I was thinking doing this is I know my mom's still here, and your mom's still here and we're very thankful, but, you want to remember the good times, and some of the things that they've passed down to us as mothers and fathers and so on and so forth. So I think it's going to be, hopefully it'll be a great week. We're hoping to, like I said, this is the start. Is there anything about motherhood, Terri, that maybe as a mom, maybe you would have tried differently or done differently? Was there anything you...
No, I originally wanted more kids.
Yes.
And then when I had my first back surgery, I had a hard time with that. And then I was afraid to plan more kids. And so Zachary was God's answer to that because he was a surprise.
Well, I think we would have tried maybe one more for a girl. Maybe.
Yeah. But if I would have not had back surgery, I probably would have, I would have preferred to have, more, but then I just did not feel well for a good year after that. And I was like, I'll enjoy the 2 healthy kids I have. So
the other thing that I wanted to bring up too, is that not only did you mother our 3 children, but you also, we did it as a team, but you also we brought in foster kids. And, that was interesting. It was tough to watch. There was some great kids that came through. It's just the tough situations.
Tough situations, and they're raised, and some of them think totally different. Like they think things are okay that, you don't or whatever. I don't know what.
It's hard to change that.
Yes, it is hard to change that. And then, but we did have a lot of great kids.
They didn't give
almost all of it. I mean, we had a couple that gave us problems at times, but then you think back to what they were going through. They were pulled out of their homes, or they were, either from something they did or from something the parents did or from just being homeless back then, which now they do not do that. They do not take them away. They put them all together in like a shelter or whatever.
Oh, not separate them.
And now, back when we were doing it, if you lost your home, you lost the school district. Now the homeless can stay in the school district they're in until they find another home. So they want more structure for those families. And so that's something good that I think really passed from that, because a lot of the kids we had came from another school district, had to change schools, and while they were here. And I think that's even rougher on a kid. Not only did you lose your family, you lost all your friends. You go to school, you don't know anyone, you don't know where you're going.
Start all over.
Yes. And so I think that is a good thing for the homeless to be able to stay in the same school district and at least have those same friends until they get resettled either in that school district or find a new one, and then they have one move instead of having 3 or 4 moves while they're looking for a place.
Would you say that as far as, you're not their mother, okay, but the instinct there is still there to try and be a motherly figure.
I mean,
you're not going to be able to, you're never going to be that, but you want to show them the love that as a mother would, right?
I remember certain ones crying all night the first night they were here, and I would come in and I would say, honey, can I do it? No, I don't want. They didn't want me to hold. Some of them would, and then some of them wouldn't want me, especially boys. They didn't want me to hold them or to coddle them at all because that's a weakness or whatever. And unless they were very young, then they would let me. But yeah, it was hard to watch like a 7-8-year-old boy. You can hear them in there crying all night, but they won't let you in because they don't, number one, they don't want you to replace their mother because they don't want to be with you. And it was rough at times, but hopefully we helped all of the kids that came through our house in the way that we showed them that there's another way to live, even if it was only for 4 months to a year. We showed them that these are the things our family did consistently. And when we were doing that, I consistently cooked at home, even if we had lots of sports going on. They were allowed to do sports with our kids if they were here long enough. And they went to our kids' sporting games, and they went to church every week with us. So they saw that, some families do a lot together.
And we included them with all the holidays too. They were always there.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
If it didn't interfere with their,
now, some of them had visitation with their families, but they would have like Christmas morning with us, and they would have packages and stuff, and then they would go to their families if they could have a visit or whatever. But
yeah, we wanted them to. We brought them in because we wanted them to make them feel comfortable, and our kids. I think that was the one thing too. They too welcomed them in, and they tried to make them feel like it. But it
did very well in our house,
yes.
Just because our kids were welcoming, and I think it really taught our kids to overlook or accept people's differences.
Yes,
like just because they had a slight learning problem, or one of them had cerebral palsy, but just slightly drooling and stuff. They learned how to be nice about telling the other ones, can you wipe your chin off, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But making the other people aware that things might bother you without being mean about it, and to be accepting of people who are different than you. And I think our kids did well with that in school too, because I never ever had a teacher or anyone call me and say, our kids were making fun of someone, or what I mean, because we brought them into our home, so they knew that was not allowed, that person was a part of our family for the time they were here. So
that's something too I wanted to hopefully on a future podcast is talk to the kids about the foster care and how it maybe we saw it differently than they did. Maybe they saw it a different way. So hopefully we can bring that up. But I think it also taught our kids too that there's kids that have it rough, have it really rough.
Oh yeah.
And they learned that right from the beginning.
Oh yeah, because most of the time the first couple of nights were rough. I mean, the kids didn't want to be here.
No.
They were very upset about being here. They cried. I think it made our kids empathetic for other people. When you hear that, mom can't take care of this kid, and they're in there crying, and they just want mom,
Right. Yeah. So motherhood is, we raised 3 kids. They're doing very well. We're very blessed, and you're definitely by far as a great mom, and we have great moms to that have helped us along the way too. So that's the start of it. Thank you, Terri, for sharing some of that, and hopefully the next step will be talking to your mom and my mom. So we're going to be doing this all week, and it's like Mother's. It's supposed to celebrate your mom every day. So that's what we're going to be doing this week, and so hopefully tune in. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter, Just Talking Out Loud. Don't forget to subscribe. You can make sure you're up to date, especially this week, because we'll be releasing a new episode either every other day or every day, depending how many I get done. And so don't forget to do that too, and like and comment, however you can do that. We appreciate it. Have a great week. Happy Mother's Day as we'll continue that. I'm Ron.
And I'm Terri.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show.